Good morning to the colleagues. I just want to check. So, Minister, first, when we say the number is not going through, sometimes you make calls, and on the day in Parliament when you made a presentation, we called the hotline, and there was no one picking. And that's where the concern was raised, that you call this hotline and you don't get anyone to attend to you. That's the first thing. But I also want to check, Chair, I must first raise it that we can't be getting reports as if we are by the ways here. This issue of extortion is an issue that even through voting, majority of the political parties in Parliament voted against an ad hoc committee to take on this particular crime, and that this portfolio committee will deal with it. And you can't get a report on extortion, on anything with regards to this crime, as a by the way issue. We can't be listening to one person making a presentation and not having the actual report in front of us unless there's some security issues that must be raised with the portfolio committee. I want to check. Majority of the calls that we have here are not really registered cases. Is there a way or is there a strategy from SAPS to try and limit these prank calls? Is there, with regards to technology, is there a way of trying to limit these prank calls? And I once asked a question on what are some of cases that are related to extortion that communities may not know about. Because when you say extortion, you are speaking to 90% of the people don't understand what extortion is up until today, despite the fact that there's posters now, social media platforms on Twitter, you will find communications, blowing up this extortion issue. But 90% of our people in the different areas don't understand what extortion is. Are there partnerships that are still continuing? Because I know there's also those teams that are put in place to look into this particular crime. Are there partnerships that are there in place? And maybe if we can get a brief on what is it or what are some of the things that have been put in place to ensure that we limit the prank calls, but to also encourage people in the different communities to lodge in legit complaints about extortion. Thanks.
Thank you, Minister or General, if I may, with all the comments, if we can just have the feedback, please, and then we'll move on to the next agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think we will respect any guidance on the side of the committee in terms of a comprehensive report if the committee wants that. But I just want to clear a number of things so that we are not said to be terrible in performance, as the Honorable Man is saying. Number one, we agree that in the country we have a lot of crimes, and crimes are high. And all of us lined up here, we have agreed that our priority and our focus is bringing crime down, and that's what we're doing. And as part of that, we say communities must be active. They must report criminality and crimes and criminals and all of that. And one of the ways in which we do it, we say report crimes. The most basic way of reporting crime, or well known, is to go and open a case in a police station. But then there are also a lot of complications, like we don't trust, like when we report the people who report at police stations come back to boast that there's nothing that will happen because we're friends with that policeman, that policewoman in the station. So you then say, here are toll-free lines over and above that. But let me touch on opening cases. we're emphasizing these days that not only must you open a case next door, go to any other police station, even when you come from Entwati, like I do come from there, you happen to be in Joburg, or you go to town in the next town, open a case there. And you don't have to leave your number, your name and your number and your surname. Just open a case. Say, I know of a person called Castle Matala. He was involved in the murder of so and so and so and so on such a day and so on. Open that case without declaring who you are because of this. We are saying this all over. But let me come to this. I'm not wanting to make sweeping statements about what Honorable Letlape is saying. But almost in all the places where we meet people in larger numbers, let me take the case of Mthatha. The hall was full there. And people did say what we say here, they don't understand. We had to close the hands because there were too many people who were talking on extortion, reporting, each one of them wanting to report extortion to us. We didn't have enough time. But what they reported, we understood that almost everyone in the hall wants to report directly to us on extortions. So they know. It may be a platform, it may be any other, but they know. That doesn't mean that we must stop asking those questions whether they know and stop telling people or defining it. But they know because I saw it there. In fact, if you see everything that has happened in Mthatha, it's because on extortions just around Mthatha, it's because of what they reported on that day. And we followed up. So let's not completely undermine their knowledge and their consciousness on this, but they have limitations, of course, access to phones and all of that, data and so on. But what I found to be quite an issue among people is that they don't trust. So that's why at some point, shortly after we went to Mthatha, people wanted to come to Pretoria, and actually they did come. We had to allocate people to this one, that one, because they wanted to report directly. So in other words, go to police station. If you're afraid of this and that, report on these toll-free numbers. If you're still afraid, go wherever we can meet. Because they do say, we want to report directly, like one man did last night when I got to Cape Town from Rissenburg, saying, no, I want to meet you. And then I say, no, but I don't stay in one place for more than 3 days. So where are you going to go to? And it's, no, that is yours. I want to meet you on illegal mining. So I'll finally have to meet that person. So you do have such cases. Now, let me, on that day in Parliament, this is very interesting because I also was sitting there and I called someone to our spokesperson in SAPS, phone these numbers, check, because parliamentarians say these numbers don't work. And she came back to say, this one is working. This one I've had to phone twice because on phoning for the second time, I established that there are 2 ladies that work there on this number. But one was on the phone, not on the passage, and another was in the toilet, in the bathroom. So no one was taking the numbers. And I scolded them. That's what she said. We scolded them that they must never leave. Both of them, at least one must always stay on the line and so on. So it does happen, but the numbers were working. I don't have any other way of confirming it, but they were working. But these numbers that they are quoting here, this 2,000 or 3,000, it shows, it's a demonstration that they do work, but they don't use them for the papers and so on. But let me leave that. It's something that we have to go on and on. But let me read this just to say that we are taking extortions seriously, much more than it appears here. In the Northwest, just this financial year, or beginning of this year, 15 cases were reported. 7 are extortions. 8 are related to extortions. And 16 arrests, and 8 are under investigation. 6 are awaiting decision of courts.